Test 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. All right, recording has begun again, and now I'm going to share screen. Desktop, share. Okay. All right, we're gonna get started, everyone. Welcome to the G12 Book Club every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on my personal link. And we're recording them now, so they're going to go up starting out on the G12 Facebook page. I'm going to upload them to the YouTube as well. So this week, we are going over Chapter 4 of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, the chapter on AutoSuggestion, which, as I was saying a little while ago, that kind of goes hand in hand with Chapter 3 from last week, Faith. Last week, we were given an AutoSuggestion tool to create faith last week. That's what we were given. So if you go back through Chapter 3 in your book or in the PDF provided to you on the G12 website, you can download this whole book right there. And in Chapter 3, it gives you a AutoSuggestion tool for creating faith. That's a big, big key. So hit that up. That is definitely a resource that is available to you for free. All right, so throughout the course of the book, we're covering the 13 key principles to ultimate success, basically, to having the keys, the mind state and the habits and the mindset to success, right? So we're going over the third of the key principles: self-talk, AutoSuggestion, mantras, affirmations, whatever you want to call them. Whatever it is, you're going to say your goal to yourself twice a day. It's going to be in the morning and at night, and we're going to talk about why the morning and why at night a little bit later. So going over just plain old basics, so we have an idea of how AutoSuggestion works. Auto and suggestion. So here's a direct quote from the book. Suggestion applies to all suggestions and self-administered stimuli, which, dang it, I got us up on the panel again. Hold on. I got to move us. Oh, no. All right, hold on, y'all. Okay. I have to move our little panel over. I just have to move us down, I guess. All right, there we go. Here we are. Okay, auto and suggestion. Applies to all suggestions and self-administered stimuli which reach one's mind through the five senses. So when we talk about suggestions, right, that we are receiving through our five senses, you hear a dog barking, you hear that with your ears. You might not even see the dog, but you know it's a dog because over the course of your life, you've heard a dog barking so many times that your mind knows that it's a dog. You've been auto-suggested that is the sound that a dog makes, right? Over the whole course of your life. You heard that sound. Maybe the first time you ever heard it, you're like, what was that? And somebody said, that's a dog, right? That's suggestion right there from your senses, from your hearing. Let's say the color red. Who told you that was what that color was called? But that's what we call it because that's what we've been suggested. So now when we see that color, we think that's red, right? So that is how suggestion works through the five senses, right? And so auto suggests self-suggestion, much like an autobiography is written by the author. The author is the person that the biography is about, right? So they wrote it about themselves. So auto-suggestion. So basic breakdown. All right, now we're getting into the juicy stuff. Absolute control. We, as human beings, goodness, gotta have to breathe, y'all. Gotta breathe through my mouth. And pardon me, I'm a mouth breather today. We, as human beings, have absolute control over our thoughts, which gives us, that's a superpower, okay? So that is an absolute superpower, okay? So the dominating thought which one allows to remain in the mind, are the ones that have the most influence, which is why we want to train ourselves into believing positive things, right? So we want to make our positive thoughts the dominating thoughts. Nature, this is a direct quote from the book. I'm going to read it from the book because I had a lot of typos last week, but nature has built man that he has absolute control over the material which reaches his subconscious mind through the five senses, ... right? So we have absolute control over the material which reaches our mind. So let's think about this on another side of things, right? So we have absolute control over the material that reaches our subconscious mind. Absolute control. Just reading that, just like I get a little bit of chills, like just thinking about how much power we have, right? Like just like last week, I was talking about how I was driving through 5 o'clock traffic and I was thinking about all these a-holes on the road, but the real truth was that I manifested those a-holes on the road by being an a-hole on the road. Well, but yeah. But so we have absolute control over the material which reaches our subconscious mind. That includes the music that we listen to, the people that we take advice from, the words that we speak. And that's a big one because I believe that words are spells, right? Words are magic. If you believe in magic, I believe that your words are spells, right? Your words, they bring to life on the physical plane what your mind brought to life in the subconscious realm, right? So I'm actually getting a little ahead of myself, but so we have absolute control over the material that reaches our subconscious mind. So be wary, be cognizant, and be selective about what you consume, right? Think of your mind as a garden and your thoughts as everything that grows with it, fruits, veggies, and weeds alike. So you got to take care of your garden, because if your thoughts are everything that grows within your garden, and you want your fruits, the things that are going to bear you fruits, you want the things that are going to feed you to grow more than the weeds and the things that are going to like eat that up, right? So the distractions, those are the weeds, the distractions, the things that aren't helping you fulfill any of your goals at all. Those are all weeds in your garden. You got to take all that out. Any negative thought, you got to weed all of that out. Any family member who says that, that looks like that's never going to work. Or, a friend of a friend of a friend who was like, I don't know, bro, that looks sketchy. Whatever. Weed all that out. Weed it all out. You have to feed the fruit and the veggies and make sure that they have a fruitful garden to grow in, right? Take care of your garden. Replace the negative with the positive intentionally. So we have the power to do it on purpose. And that's strength, y'all. That's a whole other universe of power that we have control over. Deep emotion. So I was reading over this today and I was like, this dude manages to tell us in like 5 different ways that if you don't use emotion when you are self-talking, when you are doing your affirmations, if you don't have emotion attached to it, he has like 5 different ways of telling us that it's not going to work if you don't inject emotion into your mantras, into your self-talk, into your auto-suggestion. So here's a partial quote from the book. The mere reading of the words is of no consequence unless you mix emotion or feelings into your words. Let's see if I can find specifically where it's at. Oh yeah, right here. He uses like 2.5 paragraphs of just rewording that over and over and over again, and just letting you know how important it is, right? You will get no results from your auto-suggestion unless there is emotion attached. Unemotional words or thoughts do not influence the subconscious mind. Your words must be well emotionalized with belief. So like, if you think about money, you got to think of like the exact number. And if you want cash in hand, which, I mean, you should really Google what's happening to the US dollar, but that's neither here nor there. But if you want cash in hand, like, you got to feel that. You got to feel them blue strips, blue faces. I got blue dots, blue tits. Hey, you got to feel the blue faces. You got to smell them. I can't smell anything right now, but you got to smell them. You got to feel them in your hands. It has to be emotional, right? You have to know what it feels like to have the bands in your hands. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want, you know, if you want to bring a smile to everyone's face when you walk in a room, you have to imagine that, right? You have to close your eyes and imagine that and feel what that feels like to when you walk in a room, everybody who looks at you smiles, right? You have to feel it in your guts. It's got to give you goosies, right? Like Isis says, your why has to make you cry, right? Emotion. There has to be emotion. So don't get discouraged if you can't control it at first. If you have a hard time putting the emotion there, right? It does take practice. Just like every chapter has said it so far, there's no such thing as something for nothing. It's been thrown into every chapter. So just understand that it takes practice, and you got to do it over and over and over again. And you got to try out, you got to work at it, you got to work at it, right? So the Rain Man just keeps dancing until it rains, right? He doesn't know actually when it's going to rain. He just keeps dancing until it does. So just keep trying, keep trying it. And I promise you can't cheat, even if you wanted to. Like, you can't just put fake emotion that it's not going to work. You're not going to get desirable results anyway. It's not going to be what you wanted. Just like using magic that you know nothing about, right? If you're into that, you can't fake it. You have to do it right. You have to, like, the emotion has to be there. Gotta breathe. Your ability to use the principle of autosuggestion will depend very largely upon your capacity to concentrate upon a given desire until that desire becomes a burning obsession. Now, how did we just get all the way through the chapters in one sentence? Every single one. He said, your ability to use the principle of autosuggestion, that's chapter 4, will depend very largely on your ability to concentrate upon a given desire, chapter 2, until it becomes a burning obsession, chapter 1. Right? Or I guess chapter 2, desire and burning obsession, I guess are the same chapter. But you get what I'm saying. So it will depend very largely upon your capacity to concentrate, right? Focus. I personally, when I'm doing my affirmations, I find that they are most effective. They charge my body, they charge my soul, they open my third eye more when I can get as close as possible to a meditative state. That is a journey that I would say is probably a personal one, but from what I understand, Jakara leads some really great meditations. So hit her up about what it feels like to get to a meditative state. I'm not exactly perfect at it. I know what works for me. I don't really know what works for everyone. But so concentrate on that given desire until it becomes a burning desire, right? A burning obsession. So we continue on. The subconscious mind takes any orders given to it and acts upon these orders, but they often have to be repeated over and over and over again. So the subconscious mind is listening to you, but you gotta remind it of its task every now and again. Otherwise, you'll just kind of drift, right? Drift. We don't want to drift. We learned that in Outwitting the Devil, which we're going to cover. I think that's going to be our next book, honestly. Because it just ties in so perfectly with this one. But we don't want to drift. We want to remind the subconscious what we're setting our sails to every day, twice a day if we can, right? Potentially, like ideally, you want to remind yourself twice a day, right? So the subconscious will take any order given to it, and it will act upon these orders, but you have to repeat the orders. You gotta essentially, the last line, essentially play a trick on the subconscious mind to believe it because it has been suggested to do so. Just like, what's that sound? That's a dog. right? But you didn't see the dog, but you know it's a dog because you know what a dog sounds like, right? So essentially playing a trick on this, that could have been somebody with a little soundboard in their car with a little dog noise. It maybe not, maybe it wasn't a dog, maybe it was a dude with a soundboard, you know. But you have to trick your subconscious mind to believe it because it has been suggested to do so, right? So this is where we get into, this one's good. So before we get into the actual like steps of auto-suggestion, because you know how Napoleon Hill likes to give us very clear instructions. Before we get there, we're going to talk about services rendered because it's so important. Because you can't get something for nothing. You cannot get something for nothing. Services rendered. So it's not just enough to affirm the money you're going to have in your hands. You also have to meditate on and think about what you're going to do. And you have to see yourself doing the thing, doing the actions that are in your definite plan. You have to see yourself giving the service. So when you put a number about how much money you want in your mind, give your mind the thought of how much money you intend to claim. Give your mind that thought. See the number in your head. Now, if you're a creative person, your brain's going to start tick-tocking on all the things that you could do in the world to receive that money. My brain is a little analytical, pretty logical. My brain's going to start breaking down things into exact prices, and then I'm going to put it on a timeline. I'm going to say, all right, I need $178.24 every single day. It's going to be like that. My brain's going to start tick, 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 and start pulling the calculator out and telling me how much money I need to make every single day in order to reach my goal by this day. So watch how creative your mind gets when formulating a plan to make it happen. Now, I thought was a really interesting paragraph. It's a little bit longer than what it is here. I broke it down because his prose tends to be a bit purpley sometimes. He uses more words, I think, sometimes than necessary. I might think that later when I read it again. I might think that something different about that. But do not wait for a definite plan. Okay, so I'm actually going to read it out of the book because I think it's relevant. Do not wait for a definite plan through which you intend to exchange services or merchandise in return for the money you are visualizing. But begin at once to see yourself in possession of the money, demanding and expecting, meanwhile, that your subconscious mind will hand over the plan. See how creative the mind gets, right? Will hand over the plans that you need. Be on alert for the plans, right? Be on alert. And when they appear, put them into action immediately. When the plans appear, they will probably flash into your mind through the sixth sense in a form of an inspiration. The inspiration may be considered a direct telegram or message from infinite intelligence. We talked about infinite intelligence last week. Infinite intelligence we have all defined as our connection to source, spirit, God, whatever you call it. I like to call it universe. Universe and source. That's what I like to call it. The it, them, they, she, him. I don't know. Infinite intelligence. So this inspiration may be considered a direct telegram or message from infinite intelligence. Treat it with respect and act upon it as soon as you receive it. Failure to do this will be fatal to your success. Right? Heavy hitter. That's the big gloves. That's the big boy gloves right there. I'm gonna stop real quick. How many people have had a moment like that? That aha, like, oh, the plan came to you, was handed to you from infinite intelligence. How many of you have had a moment like that?
I did.
Yeah, do you want to tell us about it?
Noble, Jules, I was talking to her one day on the phone, and she pretty much just kind of broke it down to me without even me telling her, what my plan was.
Okay.
And let me know that I was going in the right direction.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I feel like Noble has a pretty pretty great friendship with infinite intelligence. Like Noble is really allowing her connection to infinite intelligence to shine through for all of us, to the benefit of all of us. Very grateful for Noble, absolutely. Has anybody else had a moment like that?
I have. I was talking with Noble and she explained a whole lot of stuff. I was like, oh, you're good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, she is real good. I always make sure to get on her lives or at least watch the replays if I can, because it's just crazy how relevant her lessons are. So relevant to everything, to anything, to, like so relevant. I had a moment like that this morning when I was going through my affirmations, and I'm going to share a little bit of my affirmations with you in a while. But when I was going through my affirmations, I have a line in mine that says, "I outgive." That's one of my mantras. I outgive. And I was really thinking about what that looks like. What does it look like to outgive? And some plans came into my mind. It's going to take a while to execute, but I'm really excited, super, super excited about how that's going to go. But I saw myself rendering the service. The plan laid itself out in my head like I had a galaxy brain moment where my whole brain was just a swirl of stars and universe, and I was like, oh, there it is, and it swirled back into my head. But yeah, it was great. It was wonderful. All right, summary of instructions. Here we go, because Napoleon Hill is so good to us. He always gives us instructions. This is the part where we want to screenshot. Maybe if you trust my typing, I feel like we have a pretty good track record of my typing not always being so great. So again, you do have a downloadable PDF of this entire book on the G12 website. You can follow along with us, that you can take little screenshots off of and make it the background on your phone or what have you, if you need that. Take out all of these steps and put them in their own little document, you know, if you're like me. But okay, so the summary of instructions. First, go to a quiet place where you will not be disturbed or interrupted. Close your eyes and speak aloud so you can hear yourself. It's important. It's an important detail. Speak aloud the amount of money you intend to claim, or whatever goal it is that you have. It doesn't necessarily have to be money, but this book is Think and Grow Rich. So we talk about that money, So speak aloud the amount of money you intend to claim, the time limit for its accumulation, and describe the services rendered in return for the money. All of these things important. Speak them out loud to yourself with closed eyes, undisturbed, light meditation mode. See what I'm saying? Get to that meditation state if you can. I find it to be very useful. Second, repeat this in the morning and at night until you can see in your imagination, in your subconscious, in your source, your piece of source, your piece of universal intelligence that lives within you, the thoughts in your brain, the voice that you hear when you have thoughts, your imagination. Repeat it morning and night until you can see it in your imagination, until you can see the money you intend to claim. You gotta smell it. If you can smell the blue strips. Yeah. I had like a daydream of just a wad of cash sitting on my table the other day, and I was like, yep. There it is. It's right there. It's right there. Third, place a written copy of your statement where you can see it in the morning and at night, and read it until you have it memorized. So there are some of my affirmations that I don't have to actually read them anymore because I know that portion of the stanza, right? Until you have it memorized. So write it down to yourself. I have been suggesting saying it to yourself in the mirror. Look yourself in the eyeballs and say it to yourself. Like it hits a little harder. That it hit different. Ooh, that thing be hitting different. Yeah, like that. When you look at yourself in your eyes while you're saying your affirmations, it's a little bit different. So In the morning and at night, here's why I think that's relevant. It doesn't really say this in the book, but it does. I think it's relevant, so I'm going to share it with you. In the morning and at night, so at nighttime, when you're going into what I call the fifth, when you're going into your subconscious space, when you go there, you have way more control over it than you think you do. When I was in college, I did some lucid dreaming studies, and some other studies with certain hallucinogens. That's neither here nor there. It's the past. That's the past now. Anyway, you have a lot more control over your subconscious mind when you're sleeping than most people believe that they do. So at night, if you can put yourself in that space, if in your mind you can become the best version of yourself before you go to bed and live in your dream state as your other self, why then would you not wake up as that person? And when you read those mantras in the morning, you're reaffirming that person that you fell asleep in the mind state of, right? You're reaffirming that. Now, how many of you have had a nightmare and in the moments of your waking, you believe you were still there? The emotions were still hitting you. Your heart's still racing. The emotions are still there. You're still crying. You're like, oh my God, oh my God. And then you realize you're in the 3D, right? You're like, oh, shoo, right? How many of you have had a moment like that?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, you're still feeling like that. So now, because we're human beings and we have control of our thoughts, we have absolute control of our thoughts. Because we're human beings, before we go to bed, we adjust our frequencies, right? Through AutoSuggestion, we adjust our frequencies until we become our highest self. We become the other self that we're going to talk about in Outwitting the Devil. We become the highest, best version of ourselves. We become the other self. We go to bed. We live in our subconsciousness. We live for hours as the other self. And we wake up in that feeling, in that empowerment, in that ability, in that capability, right? And then we read those mantras again. We reaffirm it. And I tell you what, every single time you do it, it'll stick a little bit more. And the picture will become a little bit clearer. It's a beautiful thing, y'all. It's a beautiful thing. All right, moving on. All right, so for anyone who has not done this, said any mantras or anything like that before, or even taken the time to create mantras for yourself, it's gonna look weird. It's gonna feel weird. The people in your house are probably gonna think you sound weird. Weed that shit out. It's a garden. We're tilling a garden here. We're growing fruit. Weed it out. It doesn't matter. It can be weird. They're going to be saying you mad weird, you run into the bank. Hello? So it might seem weird at first, but understand that affirmations and self-talk will open up a whole universe of power to you, in your mind, in your hands, in your body, in your capability. So much power for you to be able to transmute your desires into money, or just create your most authentic life, whatever that looks like, at whatever your bank account looks like in that world. Whatever it looks like, create your world, right? Self-talk and affirmations will get you there. They absolutely will. So unlock that, untap that. You are a superpower. You are a superhero with a superpower, and it's all right here in your mind. It's right here. You just got to unlock it, right? All right, so I always start my mantras with this. This is how my daily and nightly mantras begin. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Peace, be still. And that peace, be still allows me to tap in deeper into my meditative state, right? So self-control for me is just me sitting down and doing that. That's self-control. And I have power through that. I have strength through that. I am stronger through my self-control. I think that every time I show up to the gym, self-control is strength. I think that every time every time I do any one of my daily actions that are leading me to any of my goals, I think self-control is strength. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. We're going to talk about accurate thought in Outwitting the Devil. Accurate thought is really just like being deprogrammed, right? Being knowing when you're functioning outside of the programming. Calmness is power. So the less that you can allow other people to influence you, the more calm that you can be, the more powerful you are. Nobody can push you around. You are powerful. You are calm. Peace. Be still. Peace. Be still. Just be still and allow source to tap into you and for you to tap into source, co-create, right? Self-control is strength, right? Thought is mastery, calmness is power. You may use any of these. I have pulled my mantras, my affirmations from so many different places. And I want to hear everybody else's too. If anybody's got anything to add, I want to hear those too. These ones are some big ones for me to get me outside of the victim mindset and into the empowered mindset. Things do not happen to me, they happen for me, right? Everything is perfect. Even when you fail, it's there to learn, it's there to teach you a lesson. You have to learn something from your failures. You have to learn something from the things that are maybe not so fortunate. The things do not happen to me, they happen for me. No one and nothing can affect my mood or frequency. All I need is within me now. And then I go through each one of these. Peace is within me now. Love is within me now. Abundance is within me now. Happiness is within me now. I am a byproduct of every decision I make. I am limitless potential. I'm not a victim. I am limitless potential. And this goes more along the lines of what Napoleon Hill was saying in this chapter. To be more specific about, you have to be more definite, right? So my dreams and goals are becoming a reality now. I am so happy and grateful now. Even though the thing has not come to you yet, you're happy and grateful for it now, right now. And for every moment up until leading to it. I am so happy and grateful now that I will earn blah, 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 by blah, blah, blah. That I will hit this rank by blah, blah, blah. I am so happy, grateful now that I will become blah, 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 blah. I am so happy and grateful now that I will learn blah, 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 blah. I am so happy and grateful now that I will be blah, 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 whatever it is for you, whatever it is for you. And these are some resources for some places where you can draw some of your mantras from. I like Vibo. I got that one from D, actually. Vibo is pretty great. I pulled a couple of them off of there. And then there's a group on Facebook that I've been part of for about 2 years now. It's like $5 a month, but it's all mindset stuff. And they take you through meditations every single day. They talk about like the more spiritual side of being in the mindset to be a business person. They talk about like human genome keys and all sorts of stuff like that. But anyway, Hungry Bear's dope. And then this one was suggested by J Boss, Daily Mantra Invictus by William Ernest Henley. And now I'm gonna let my dog out, and I would like for if anybody else has any mantras that they'd like to share, please share them. Anyone?
Okay, I have a couple. I am so happy and grateful now that I am a successful author. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm the second millionaire in my family. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm a successful trader. I am so happy and grateful now that I paid off my mom's house. I'm so happy and grateful now that I own a 6-unit apartment building. I am so happy now that I have rental properties. I am so happy and grateful now that I have private jet money. I am so happy and grateful now that I can take out $1,000 from my trading account every Friday. I have some more, but I'm not gonna, I have more. But
She got specific on them. Yes, I love all of those. That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful, Jen. Does anybody else want to share any of their mantras or affirmations with us? What do we have on here? I might call somebody out. Who we got? Oh, dang, where did D go? What about Yams? Yams, you got some affirmations? You got some mantras that you say to yourself?
Sure. One of them that I remind myself of when I am not feeling so confident is that I am a spirit from the everlasting past to the never-ending days to come.
Ooh, hold on. Say that again. Where's my pen? Hold up. Where's my pen? Where's my pen? Give me a second. Say that again.
I am a spirit from the everlasting past to the never-ending days to come.
I am a spirit from the everlasting past. Say again.
To the never-ending days to come.
To the never-ending days to come.
And that just reminds me that sometimes when we make big deals out of something or we get frustrated over things that, you know, in the big scheme of things is really small potatoes,
Yeah.
you know, I have to remind myself of why I'm here, why I chose to come here and what my mission is.
Yes. That is glorious. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anyone in here who has never had any auto-suggestion or mantras or self-talk in their life and they want to start? No, so we're all pretty familiar with self-talk. We've all done it at least a little bit, right? Yeah. That's wonderful. So another thing I want to suggest is when you're doing your services rendered, right? It was actually something that my girlfriend said to me. She said you should include in your mantras the skills and the adjectives and like the words that describe the characteristics that it's going to take for you to achieve what you want to achieve, right? So that added to my mantras. I am intentional. I have integrity. I am selective. I am determined. I'm dynamic. I'm ambitious. Right. So stuff like that. You know, to just like feel yourself being that. Right. To feel myself being that. And last week we talked about maybe there being some mantras that are like hard for you. There's a few that are hard for me to read still. One of them for me as what I like to formally call myself an introvert, but I want that to change, which is a big reason why I'm doing this. But one that I added on recently was when I walk into a room, I change the energy. When I open my mouth, people listen. That's not a feeling I've ever felt before in my life in the real world. That's not a feeling I've felt in the 3D, right? Not legitimately. It's not something I've been confident in. They're like, oh, okay. When I walk into a room, I change the energy. When I open my mouth, people listen, right? So it's not something I've always been super confident about, but that's a place where I want to be. That's my other self embodies that. My other self does that. When my other self walks into a room, that everybody's like, ooh, hey, Leah's here, Boogie's here. That's my nickname, y'all. Y'all can call me Boogie if you want. But hey, like that's how I want to feel, right? I break barriers. I am the ambassador of my bloodline. Y'all, I was just on the phone with my mom today, and she was talking about taking me shopping, and I was like, "You gonna take me shopping? I want to take you shopping. What are you talking about?" Like, so I, like my other self takes my mom shopping. My other self takes my grandma shopping. My other self takes my little sister shopping, help my sister open up a business, stuff like that. So become that person, feel what it feels like to be that person. So I believe that is going to be it for me, from me on auto suggestion. If you guys have anything you want to add or anything you want to like talk about, like off a jumping point, a talking point from before, now's your time. jump in whenever you like. Otherwise, I am going to do our foreword next time on Book Club. Chapter 5, Specialized Knowledge. Personal experiences or observation, the fourth step toward riches. So specialized knowledge, for me, that means learning something so specifically that like you're a specialist in it, right? So that's what we're doing. We're learning to trade. We have specialized knowledge. That specialized knowledge brings forth the actions that we need to take to create the wealth that we want in our lives. Specialized knowledge. That's where we're going next, right? So next time on Book Club, Chapter 5, please review the book, the chapter, before you attend next week's meeting, blah, 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 what have you. All right, y'all. That's it for me. I love you, and I will see y'all next week.
Peace.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
So welcome. Okay, bye.